Bad news for Nintendo news. A Nintendo Direct was scheduled for this week to update gamers on upcoming titles for the Switch and 3DS. However, whatever figuratively earth-shaking news they planned on revealing was put on hold due to literal earth-shaking in Hokkaido. So far, the Direct is yet to be rescheduled. However, one upcoming title may have been inadvertently leaked. At least one eagle-eyed Twitter user noticed that Yoshi's Crafted World, presumably a game in the same vein as Yoshi's Woolly World, is scheduled to hit the Switch next year. For games coming out a bit sooner, Capcom released a demo ahead of MegaMan 11, for consoles at least. Fans of the Blue Bomber can check out Blockman's stage, testing out Mega Man's new power and speed gear along with the Scramble Thunder ability and the Pile Driver ability, both of which will come in handy as you try to navigate the level. I would describe what facing off against Blockman is like, but I couldn't get that far. Over in television, good news for fans of the Brooklyn Nine-Nine. According to Deadline, not only has NBC saved the show from cancellation, ordering a 13-episode season after Fox gave it the axe, but now it seems that 13 episodes have become 18. So that's an extra 2.5 hours of NineNine when the show comes back for the mid-season of 2018. Hitting theaters this week, if you've got some friends in town with a few days to kill, maybe you'll want to check out Predator. A young boy inadvertently starts an intergalactic conflict, and it's up to a ragtag crew of soldiers and a disgruntled science teacher to save the world. Yep, that's the premise. Oh, well, at least it's rated R. Over in television, Jim Carrey is back with Kidding on Showtime, a show that puts Carrey in the role of a Mr. Rogerish TV personality trying to stay in character as his personal life collapses around him. On TNT, The Last Ship is ready for its final voyage. After 5 seasons, it seems that humanity has repopulated itself pretty well and is ready for war again to send the show out with a bang. But where one apocalypse has been averted, another one is beginning on FX with American Horror Story. It looks like the show is diving into the end times for inspiration for their 8th season. Meanwhile, Ron Weasley finally did something right because Snatch is getting a 2nd season on Crackle, and I don't know why I haven't watched the 1st season yet. I love Snatch, and it's out there for free right now. Speaking of streaming service exclusives, The Dragon Prince on Netflix is clearly angling to be the next Avatar, just with significantly fewer frames of animation. Still looks pretty neat though. Also on Netflix, Norm Macdonald has a show called Norm Macdonald Has a Show. So if you've been thinking to yourself, I wish Norm Macdonald had a show, now he has one. Heading into video games, Welcome to Bummertown is an interesting little indie title that seems to have you manipulating a glitchy city using in-game settings to find a lost NPC, which is a really cool concept. For something a little more action-packed, Gunrage doesn't look like a great game, but it doesn't look great really well, if that makes sense. Also feeding on retro sensibilities, Old School Musical is really just a rhythm game, but it's a rhythm game that'll remind you a lot of other games that you really liked. And speaking of games with great music, Steel Empire doesn't look particularly special, but wow, does that trailer have an impressive soundtrack. Next up, Super Seducer 2 Advanced Seduction Tactics is apparently a thing because enough people ironically bought the first one to think it justified a second. Good going. Also getting a sequel is Frozen Synapse, and this surprised me because I was sure that this game was already out. Originally scheduled for a 2016 release, it seems that this turn-based tactics game took a little longer to finish up than expected. Hopefully the wait is worth it. On the other side of the effort spectrum, Shooter Game, and I'll give developer Anaz credit for a pretty cool looking variety of weapons, but that title is a little on the nose. Next up, Super Lucky's Tale is hitting Steam, which is kind of a weird move since it's been available on PC via the Microsoft Store since it came out last year, but hey, nothing wrong with giving a neat looking 3D platformer some more exposure. Then there's Disneyland Adventures, a game that normally wouldn't capture my attention, except I'm extremely curious to know why this game triggered a mature content warning on Steam. And the same goes for Rush, a Disney Pixar adventure, but you know what didn't get a mature content warning? Shadow of the Tomb Raider. The rebooted origins of Lara Croft is coming to a conclusion as Lara completes her transformation from a hapless survivor into a ruthless killer, gallivanting around the world and putting an end to anyone and anything that gets in her way. Over on the Switch, the indie classics just keep on coming. Releasing this week is Dust: An Elysian Tale, the second landmark Metroidvania game to hit the system in as many weeks. Also coming out this week is Bastion, so you can get your fix of that deep narrator bliss both at home and on the go. For games made a little more recently, Nefarious, which released on PC last year, is hitting all 3 consoles this week, giving players a chance to play classic games from the villain's point of view. That leaves us with this week's awesome video, syncing up nicely with the release of Marvel's Spider-Man, because science takes a deep dive into Spider-Man's spider sense, and it turns out to be one of his more plausible superpowers.
Trichobothria on Spider-Man might be able to pick up the minute atmospheric disturbances from an incoming projectile, or even the pressure from the light of a gunman's laser sight, which is ridiculous.
That's everything for this week, so what are you hoping to get from the eventual Nintendo Direct? Give me your best guess in the comments. As always, I appreciate likes and appreciate subscribers even more, so be sure to share this video with your friends and have a great week!